So FinLLM was built with financial services in mind. Large language models today are trained on vast amounts of data, everything from Shakespeare to recent financial texts, but also everything in between. The LLMs are trained on data from the US, from worldwide different types of regulations. It kind of means that you lose the nuance of what the UK financial services needs. So FinLLM was built with that in mind. We utilize data from the FCA, from the PRA, from UK banking websites, and everything in between that makes it relevant for financial services in the UK. So we have fantastic partnerships at Aveni. With the University of Edinburgh, we've had some leading PhD students join our team to build out FinLLM, alongside a key partnership with Lloyds Banking Group and Nationwide Building Society. It's meant that everything that we build has been built for the industry. So when thinking about implementing generative AI in your business, I think it's important to think beyond just large language models. The future of generative AI is so fast moving that the AI strategy within your business can't just be about these bespoke little use cases. You probably have to start thinking a little bit more vertically and think about the kind of capability that you're enabling within your business. FinLLM is just one component of that. FinLLM has been designed for financial services use cases, but there might also be opportunities for you to use more conversational LLMs or potentially even just the traditional back-end solutions that we're used to. I think it's always about finding the right tech for the use case that you're building in. So FinLLM, the initiative, was kind of spun up by first identifying that we wanted to use a base model. So we aren't training from scratch for FinLLM. The whole reason behind this is that Gen AI and generative AI is a really fast-moving market, and trying to play the game of keeping up with the next best model is you're kind of setting yourself up to lose. So the premise around FinLLM is to use one of the best base models and evaluate the benchmarks of performance on what we deem to be relevant to UK financial service tasks. So across things like text summarization or understanding and reasoning over tabular structured data. And then the base model that indicates the best performance is what we choose then to apply all of our financial knowledge, test sets, and data on top of to make sure that the model that is continuously pre-trained and fine-tuned on has relevance for the market. So FinLLM version 1 that was published in April 2025 marks our kind of first milestone into FinLLM as a project. It's demonstrated comparable performance across varying different NLP capabilities, primarily across tabular reasoning, text summarization, text classification, long context modeling, and multi-turn conversation. And they were measured and benchmarked with Gemini 1.5 Flash and GPT-4 in Mini. And for us to have demonstrated comparable performance across these is quite a massive achievement for us. So our first version of FinLLM is 7B, so 7B parameter size. There aren't any published numbers for GPT or for Gemini 1.5, but we are estimating they're in the size of around 30 billion parameters. And with more parameters comes more compute cost, comes more latency. So the idea of that FinLLM is for it to be as performant as these frontier models, if not outperforming in particular use cases, but having a much lower operational cost and a much lower latency, so that when you are thinking about applying it within the industry, you can be certain that we have the capacity to be able to outperform frontier models, be able to have a low impact to the environment and the usage costs of FinLLM, and have reduced latency. So when we're talking about real life applications and the immediate needs of your business and the challenges that are often addressed with any kind of generative AI solution, FinLLM is positioned to meet all those needs of your business. One of the best things about FinLLM is that it was built for the industry. So before we even started the project, the first thing that we started doing was looking at really exciting use cases across the industry and the ones that perhaps had the best opportunity by utilizing a solution from generative AI or LLMs. So we did a really comprehensive analysis exercise alongside our partners, Lloyds and Nationwide, to identify the best areas for FinLLM. and kind of boiled it up a level and started identifying actually the capabilities that the model needs to have. So that's everything from text summarization, which allows you to summarize up really lengthy transcripts and recall the most accurate and relevant information for your advisors, to tabular reasoning to be able to understand transactions and potentially identify any fraud, to multi-turn conversation that allows potentially end users to chat to a financial large language model directly and get guidance on what they need to be doing with their finances. So the next phase with FinLLM is our, transition period. So we're moving from labs to industry. So initially we're going to be looking over the next 6 months to kick off some POCs with Lloyds and Nationwide and test through the capabilities of the model in a real life environment. Alongside that, we are going to be building up our safety benchmarks, evals, and guardrails to make sure that everything that FinLLM does is compliant and adheres to all of the risk policies within financial institutions. Another element is kind of expanding out our model suite. So we have FinLLM 7B version 1. We want to expand into a 30B model to provide more performance and comprehensive capabilities, then expanding into a 70B model in 2026. Alongside all of that work, we're also going to be looking at implementing FinLLM into our core products. So we want to be using FinLLM as the primary large language model that powers both assist and detect. So when you're thinking about your AI strategy, you want to make sure that you're also implementing models that have been built with the regulation in mind, particularly within financial services. So the FCA to date haven't been prescriptive in what that regulation looks like, but at Aveni and with FinLLM, we've been adhering to the EU AI Act to make sure that when things do come into play and when the time is to start enforcing some bigger guardrails and more robust regulations around generative AI, that we're already meeting the needs of the industry. So stay tuned and keep an eye on our website and socials.